Hello. Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee. Zach Espinoza already in chat. His New Year's resolution is to watch more Flurry Sports, and golly, that should be everybody, shouldn't it? I'm Zach Bruner, Trevor Land in the middle, Luke Reimer on the right. It's been a minute since all three of us were here together, and apologies for not being here during the final week of the fantasy football season for the ranking show. I was dying, pushing 104-degree fever. Luke had to work doing big boy stuff. And then Trevor also is sick. So, we were over on Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group, obviously answering questions there. You can join that. But we're not doing the ranking show. No need to do the ranking show. From this point forward, Wednesdays, I think we may still keep Wednesday nights a stream day for us. We may be transitioning away from fantasy football, obviously, once the season is done. Let us know some of the stuff you would like to see on this channel separate from fantasy football, and maybe that'll be a Wednesday night thing. We also have another idea for a Wednesday night show, so we shall see. Probably more of Luke's scary glasses that are intimidating to Zach Espinoza, according to the chat. Luke, would you like to respond?
No, but how high of a fever can you get?
I don't know. I was pushing it, though. I was going for a new high score. I mean, I cut the deal with Lindsay that if I got to 104, then we go to the doctor. So I did what I had to do to stay at like 103.7. But we were good to go. We were good. I don't remember much. I know once you get past 103, you don't have many memories anymore. That's what I found out. It was something. It was cool. We're here to go.
The highest fever ever recorded was 115.7.
Jesus Christ. I mean, you're frying your brain at that point.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's insane. That person is dead. But tonight, what we are going to be doing, we're going to be going over some of our favorite picks over on Underdog Fantasy for Week 18. And what I should start off with is just a little ad for Underdog. If you are not signed up for Underdog yet, make sure you get signed up so you can place these picks along with us. Scan the QR code if you are watching this on YouTube or wherever. If you're listening to this, join UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog Fantasy app. Use promo code FLURRY, that's FLURRY, for a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. So you can double your first deposit without winning a damn thing. You're going to get a bunch of really cool promo picks that you can make a bunch of money off of, as well as some of the picks that we are going to be talking about tonight. We'll be going game by game of the available games on Wednesday night, talking about some of the players who are already ruled out because it is Week 18, and talking about some of the spots that we like. But aside from just the pick 'em, you can also join a bunch of drafts. There's daily drafts. There's drafts for just Week 18 NFL. There's daily NHL. There's PGA starting up. We got NBA. But then you can also join best ball drafts for the fantasy football playoffs or for the NFL playoffs, which are a ton of fun. Get in there right now and make some predictions on who you think is going to be winning those final playoff spots, and you may have some value in your best ball drafts. Luke, did you have something to say?
Yeah, just a little bit more of a promo. When the NBA season started, I started on a heater maybe like 10, 11 nights in a row. I made enough money to buy my Christmas presents. So you can make enough money in a week to sustain a couple of weeks of your life, which is very nice.
That is true. And I mean, with some of the picks that we're going to be going over tonight, you may hold yourself over until next football season. Who knows? Look at Luke's glasses. They're more than just show. His future's too bright because of all these Underdog Fantasy picks.
Do you think that like USFL, XFL, is that going to be on there?
Probably, I imagine so. The newly designed UFL. But there's also a bunch of college stuff. So just like sports betting, in the way that if you are really into college basketball, into college football, there's value to be had because people don't know where to set the projections. People don't know where to set the lines. So if you are diehard for your team and you know what's going on, there's going to be value to be had. You can exploit that. There's also soccer over there, both fake and MLS, which is awesome. There's also esports. Again, I don't know esports. If you are diehard into esports, I'm telling you that there's value to be had. You can make a lot of money. So sign up with promo code Flurry, and you can make a bunch of money over there. If you're signed up and want to do a draft, you don't have friends to do a draft with, drop it in the comments, by the way, on one of our YouTube videos on this stream, and maybe we'll jump in a draft together. You can do private draft lobbies, and I would be down to do one with anybody who signs up with our promo code for sure.
The best part of fantasy sports is a draft, and you can do as many as you want in this.
Yes, best day is draft day. As long, the exception if you were the lucky one to win your fantasy championship, but that is over unless you're in a league that plays into week 18, which is a mistake.
Psychopath.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, looking at the injury report this week, you realize, hey, maybe we shouldn't be having a fantasy championship decided on a week where the number one fantasy football player isn't going to be playing in Christian McCaffrey. If that doesn't just, change your decision for next year, I don't know what will. But let's talk about some of these NFL games. If this doesn't work, hang with us, and I'll take it off the screen. But as of right now, it looks like this is working. We're going to be going game by game here, just talking through some of these picks. And if you don't know what Underdog is, you select these different projections. You go higher, lower. I'm not really a lower guy, but let's just say you did. And let's just say you got all 5 of these correct. You can go, if you think you're going to go 5 for 5, that's 15.8 times your entry fee. Or you can go insured, as you see here. That allows you to get 1 incorrect, and you would still get double your money. And depending on correlation, that multiplier changes a little bit. That's a new thing. But they added that just so you can add correlated picks. In the past, you couldn't have passing yards and receiving yards, and I love to combine those together, as every sharp does. So let's talk about the Steelers versus Ravens game. It's going to be the first game kicking off week 18 on Saturday. We got 2 games, and we already know that Lamar Jackson's going to be out for the Ravens. I assume Gus Edwards would be out as well as some other defensive players and maybe other top tier offensive players. Odell, no shot he's going to play this game.
So I saw he rented out a yacht.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's dangerous. We don't need more pictures of Odell on a yacht. Maybe reverse the curse. I don't know. But Steelers, it's a must win. Ravens already locked up their spot. So obviously, I'm picking the Steelers probably to win this game.
Yep.
But how handily do you think they win it? Do you think they run away with it, or do you think it's a hard-nosed game?
This is a game like I'm sure a lot of games I'll have this explanation with, but the teams that are in the playoffs playing the team that's trying to make the playoffs, or vice versa, the rivals would love nothing more than to see the rival out of the playoffs. So I imagine the Ravens play at least somewhat. They're just not going to lay down and die here.
Yeah, I would agree. Trevor, are you thinking the same thing, at least for this AFC North matchup?
Yeah, I am. It's really sad to see a higher on fumbles lost for a quarterback, but we'll see with Rudolph.
Too. It's a scorcher.
I would definitely do that. I think that's a great scorcher. But I'm not as confident in Luke that Pittsburgh's going to win. I think Mike Tomlin's a great coach, and he finds a way to escape. But, even with Lamar out, I have literally no confidence in Mason Rudolph. But we'll see.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph right now at least is showcasing the adage, like, if you can just survive in the NFL, like if your body can hold up until your mind figures out what the game actually is, you can be pretty good. And he's kind of seemingly figured that out. Like, he's not the most talented guy, but at least he understands what he's looking at now, which has made him the best Steelers quarterback of the year. But yeah, we shall see. Tyler Huntley would be the one starting for the Ravens. We've seen him in starting spots before. I believe he's also beaten the Steelers before.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And backing him up would be Malik Cunningham now.
Ooh.
Who knows? Maybe they treat it like a true preseason game and split half and half. That could be fun. But overall, I do think the Steelers probably win. I do think it's probably close. The one for Mason Rudolph that sticks out for me is that 193.5 passing yards. Like that feels like a pretty easy over. It's not my favorite pick from this game whatsoever, but I feel like he can get at least 200. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are.
I certainly agree with that, and this is going to go into a next pick and kind of a guy that we've been talking about all year. But Mason Rudolph kind of found that the idea in the Pittsburgh offense is throw the ball to George Pickens here, and he's been awesome the last 2 weeks with Mason Rudolph. George Pickens has gone 135, 195. If he can even go 100, it's got to be easy for Mason Rudolph to find 94 yards somewhere else, right?
I would think so. We'll see what the Ravens do defensively. Like, I don't know why they would be starting like Marlon Humphrey and people like that either. But who knows? Who knows? But yeah, for me, if I'm picking a Mason Rudolph selection, the fumbles is fun, plus is a 3x scorcher. But I'm probably taking the higher on the passing yards. Again, there's at least 2 other picks from the Steelers I like more that I'll talk about. But I like that one overall. Do you guys have any other thoughts on Mason Rudolph?
I don't think so. It's a must-win game. They're going to be chucking the ball a little bit.
They are. I also think they're going to be running the ball, and possibly one of my favorite picks of the weekend is Najee Harris over 58.5 rushing yards. Ravens last 3 weeks have been the worst in the NFL against the run. They haven't been very good against the run all year long anyways. Again, they're probably going to have some people sitting, and the Steelers have been pretty heavy on Najee. He's been running the ball pretty well, and I think getting 59 rushing yards shouldn't be that bad. He's gotten in back-to-back games. I think we can project at least 16, 17 carries for him. And if you are of the opinion that the Ravens are going to sit so many people that the Steelers are going to easily win, then he's matchup proof, because if they're up, then he's just going to run the ball more anyway.
Yep.
So I think that's my favorite pick of this game.
I love it as well. Shout out to everyone who stuck with Najee Harris all year. I'm sure that he delivered in the fantasy championship for you. He might have won a championship because of him.
Yeah, he definitely came alive at the right time, for sure. Trevor, any thoughts on that? Are you agreeing or opposite of us or in the middle?
I mean, lower is always an annoying one to pick. Yeah, I mean, it just feels different when you're hoping a guy goes under than higher. It's not as fun. And on top of that, under 57 rushing yards is, I mean, it seems like it's going to be pretty hard to do. I mean, Baltimore would have to stuff the run because we know Pittsburgh's committed to it. And I don't, I mean, I under 57, if he gets 20 yards or 20 carries a game, that seems highly unlikely to me.
Just got to get 3 yards a rush.
Yeah. Yeah. And in these divisional matchups, the road team usually runs the ball a little bit more if they're able to. I know they certainly don't want to have Huntley on the field if at all possible. Yeah, I don't know. I like Najee Harris. It seems pretty easy. He's a little bit banged up, but didn't practice today due to a knee, but it doesn't sound like a big deal. It sounds like he's going to go. If it was any other Steelers quarterback in there, I'd be iffy, but I have enough confidence in Mason Rudolph that they have to respect his arm and respect George Pickens on the outside, where I do like him.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's say you put in, your picks here. You take Najee Harris higher. Najee Harris ends up not playing Sunday. What happens to your picks?
So if a player doesn't play a single snap, then they're voided. Okay. And so let's just say I have a entry of 4 different picks, then Najee's will be voided, and my entry will be scaled back to a 3 pick.
Got it.
So truly, right now, there's no risk involved. Like if he somehow gets ruled out, then whatever. But I think we're getting a discounted projection on him, to be completely honest.
Agreed.
And then this one for Deontay Johnson, I watched this drop today. It was like at over 40 yards earlier today. I love the higher for Deontay Johnson on 37.5. Like that's not hard. He might have 2 catches for 40 yards. That's not a hard one to hit.
Yeah. I mean, I like the higher for these next 3 players, to be honest.
Yeah, I was, I was looking at Underdog before, and I saw when it was at 40, I thought it was a must hit higher. Now it's 37.5. I don't see how that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Out of the 3 players here, like Freiermuth is so low that it's tempting, but he's still my least favorite out of the 3.
Yep, agreed.
I would rank them 1, 2, 3. Like I think Pickens probably gets over 50. That's mostly me hoping that the Ravens sit some people. If they started everybody, I am nervous about Pickens, but clearly the Steelers are looking towards him right now.
Yep. Zach, I'm with you, but just for my bias, I mean, I'm going to root for George Pickens, so I'm taking the higher as my favorite.
However, though, if you like George Pickens and you think he's going to catch a big bomb, don't you think he's going to score?
Yes.
So I think I'd rather take the touchdown and get the extra entry, like percentage there.
Can you double him up or not?
You can only do one per player.
Yep.
But I could do that, and then I just need to pick one from another team. Let's just say I picked over that for CJ Stroud, and all of a sudden 17.5%, like, or times we're going here. I put in $10. I could win $175. That's so easy. Like, what are we doing? We're robbing Underdog. We're robbing them. That's all we're doing. And shout out to you, Randy, in the chat. We helped him win his fantasy championship. That's what we do.
Yes,
we
sir,
just win
Randy.
championships. And we will help you next year as well. But yeah, I out of the Pickens ones, I think I like both of them. I think I'd probably lean towards the touchdown one if I'm creating a big entry, but yards is probably safer. And then Freiermuth, I'm probably staying off of Freiermuth this weekend, to be honest, but the yards are definitely tempting.
Yeah, agreed.
Boswell, I don't mind Boswell. I don't mind the kickers in these divisional games. I feel like the field goals are probably going to come, and he's not kicking in Pittsburgh, which is nice. We'll see what the Baltimore weather is, I suppose. But over 1.5 field goals doesn't seem like the most difficult one for him.
Yeah, he's automatic too.
Yeah, he's great. He's a good kicker. We don't have any Ravens up for obvious reasons. Need to figure out who's playing or not. But anything else to say about these Steelers?
No, like you said, I think, Steelers are probably due. I'm not going to say due, but it's probably in store for somewhat of a big offensive game. And like you said, I like all three of the receivers. I think it's a little passing game. They're like I said before, that Pittsburgh is not going to lay down and die here. They're going for a playoff spot.
Yeah, for sure. And they're at their best when they can establish the run. Like I said, the Ravens have been the worst against the run the past 3 weeks. They haven't been good all year long. So it actually sets up well for the Steelers here. But let's talk about this other divisional Saturday night matchup. One that's a little bit more unpredictable for me.
Yeah.
It's the Texans versus the Colts. I don't know exactly what to expect. Texans offense is kind of hit or miss. Colts continue to play only zone, which kind of leads me to believe the Texans will be able to put up points against them. But CJ Stroud, there isn't a stat here that screams that I need to take it, but I don't hate the 257 yards. What's your guys' thoughts?
I don't love picking CJ Stroud here. Like it's still like he hasn't been like what we saw start the season, middle of the season. Still coming off the concussion. Is this a game where he gets back on track, gets Houston in the playoffs? It very well could be. It feels a little risky to put money on CJ Stroud in my book. So I think I'm just staying away from him in general.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm staying away from the Texans even in general too. I think they could do great things, and I think Stroud will be great, but man, this is a risky game outside of one pick for me.
If you needed a nudge in a direction, I would side with the over, the higher on those passing yards. And this is the building CJ Stroud has played in. Obviously, Big Ten championship in that building, so a little familiarity maybe. It's inside, it's on turf, so that's a little bit like home. I don't think this game will be too big for CJ Stroud either.
No, agreed.
Forever, whatever that's worth. This is a playoff game for both these teams.
Yep.
I think he shows up. Dameon Pierce not touching his touchdowns. Can't do it.
If there's a return touchdown, I like that a little bit more.
Jesus, I haven't even watched that highlight yet. There's no way that looked good. There's no shot. Singletary. I don't mind the over or the higher on either of these. I think almost the rushing plus receiving might be safer than the rushing.
Yep. Just needs 19 receiving yards if you figure he gets 61 rushing yards, which Underdog is doing.
Yeah. Regardless, I think we understand at this point that Devin Singletary is going to see a ton of volume.
Yeah.
And I guess if you take the rushing plus receiving, it takes game script out of it a little bit. So if the Texans are trailing, he's going to catch a bunch. If they're winning, he's going to run a bunch. and I don't mind the higher 80.5. Again, if I'm going out of 10, my confidence is probably like a 6 or a 7.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't hate it. Don't love it.
Same.
Trevor, any thoughts on Singletary?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so curious how this game is going to end up. So I definitely wouldn't touch rushing yards. I don't really love rushing and reception yards as well. However, if I was to pick on it, it would have to be over too.
Fair enough. Collins definitely risky for me again.
Yep.
I don't hate the over, the higher of 70 receiving yards for him, but not something I need to take, and I'm certainly not going to pick touchdowns for him. No need.
Agreed.
Yep. Dalton Schultz, again, staying away from his touchdowns probably for me personally. I don't mind 42.5 receiving yards. I'm hoping there's a reception prop up for him later in the week, but I think he's going to be right around this number. So it's a nicely placed number. I think I'd take the higher though.
I agree. If that reception prop comes up and it's 3.5, 4.5, I think he goes over that for sure.
Yeah, I'd project him around 60 or 6 catches, 50 yards. That's where I'd put him.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not enthusiastic about 42.5, but I do like the higher if I had to pick. Trevor, any side that you're strong about?
Not that I'm strong about. I'd lean lower, but I mean, he has proven when they get him. I mean, when you get him targets, he's going to make plays, right? Like he's not a bad tight end. He doesn't really, in my opinion, have a drop problem clearly. So it's just they give him enough work. They should, but I don't know if I'd put money on it.
That is fair. Minshew, I mean, like maybe interceptions higher. I feel like he could get a little risky, a little cheeky and throw one. But overall, I'm not, there's no projection here that's screaming to me.
I agree with you. Like I agree with you, and this is a pick I probably shouldn't make. I kind of love over 5.5 rushing yards. I think this is a game where Houston is, D'Amico Ryan's this huge defensive guy. There's going to be pressure in Minshew's face. Minshew's the best when he's out there playing backyard football. He has to rush for 6 yards in this game to win.
Yeah, I think I agree with that point. Yeah, I don't hate it. It's definitely a low one. All he needs is one scramble.
Yeah.
And you're feeling pretty good. Cheetah wants to know, is Mike Evans a lock this weekend against the Saints, I do believe?
Carolina, I thought.
Carolina, you're right. Okay. Is he a lock? It depends on what you're talking about, I suppose. If it's a regular fantasy matchup, then yeah. If it's a DFS, I don't know where his pricing is at, but I don't love the matchup against the Panthers. Panthers are better against the pass than you think.
He did really good last time against Carolina, but this isn't last time either. Like, this is week 18. This is a little different. I get they still have something to play for, obviously, but it's tricky.
Mike Evans is 8,400 on FanDuel.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's a lock.
5th highest receiver.
At least. Jeez. That's a lot. Nothing else with Gardner Minshew here, right?
No.
Okay. The only lower that kind of looked at me, I don't take lowers usually, but Jonathan Taylor lower than 71.5 rushing yards, I kind of love. I don't mind it whatsoever. He's coming off one good game, 96, 43 the week before, 91 the week before that. Season high rushing yards last week. Houston, we've seen what they've done to Derrick Henry this year. We know Jonathan Taylor's going to touch the ball a lot. I mean, clearly I'm on the side of Houston winning this game, so maybe that's why. But if I'm taking a side on Jonathan Taylor's rushing yards, I'm going lower.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
This is actually the one where I'll disagree. I would go higher. He's hit it relatively consistently in the past. He hasn't played a ton of games. And I know Houston's a bigger challenge, but I just think if they're going to win the ball, they have to get him the ball. And I think Houston will pull it out barely. So I think he gets a decent enough workload to hit 72. But it'll be right there. I don't think he gets any more than 80 for sure.
If you like the higher, I would take this right now. I have a funny feeling this number is going to creep up a little bit by the time Saturday comes along. Like you may be able to get lower than like 74.5 or so, which, every yard counts at this point. So I still like the lower on this number, but I do think it's going to rise. Zach Moss touchdown. Do any of us think he's going to hit that?
No.
Okay. Michael Pittman. He's certainly been the number one receiver here for the Colts. Again, though, 79.5 receiving yards, 7 receptions. Yeah, it feels placed perfectly. I'm not taking any side here.
Yeah, this is not one where I'm picking it and I feel like I'm stealing money.
No. Tough. I'm guessing we feel the same for most of these other Colts pass catchers, but Alec Pierce has had a couple big plays recently. So all he needs is one. I'll say that to hit his receiving prop if you like that. Josh Downs 38.5 isn't terrible. He's hit it back-to-back weeks. I don't know. What's your thoughts on Josh Downs? Obviously take rushing and receiving yards if you like it, by the way. It's the same number as receiving.
Yep. Yeah, it's another one it probably will work, right? It's another one I just don't love. I don't know, Zach, I think I'm in your boat. I like Houston in this game. I don't love Indianapolis, any of these players at all.
They just have too many mid-tier guys.
Yeah. It's every one of these players feels risky when you're betting on them. You don't feel comfortable betting on them.
Not at all. Trevor, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not betting on anybody on the Colts outside of quarterback or Jonathan Taylor.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, for just to skip ahead here, I love. Oh, I guess you can't take under. Never mind. I was gonna say I love under Mo Alley Cox 1.5 receptions, but obviously that's not a thing. So I'll take under his receiving yards.
That's fair. They've been using him a little bit more recently. Again, though, 2 catches, 0 catches, 2 catches. You're flipping a coin if you're picking higher on any or either of these tight ends. I'm probably staying away.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing anything for any Colts pass catcher, I'm probably picking higher on Josh Downs receiving yards.
Yeah. And just to elaborate on Mo Alley Cox, maybe I'm in Trevor's line of thinking where you get the balls to the best player in games you need to win. That's going to be Jonathan Taylor. Mo Alley Cox is going to be in the block.
For sure. I think the value with him would be the higher on reception since there is that multiplier. And if he's involved, I think if he's involved, he's involved. If he's not, he's not. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't think he gets 1 reception in this game. I think he gets 3 or he gets 0.
Yep. Agreed.
Matt Gay's been pretty good this year as well. He's been kind of quiet. I don't mind the over on field goals. Again, these divisional games are probably going to be close. Points matter. I think both of these coaches are going to be very willing to take the 3.
Yep.
So we don't have a kicker one for the Texans yet, but on either side, I don't hate the field goals higher.
Yeah, I like higher made field goals than higher extra points or kicking points.
100%. Kicking points, by the way, is truly just points. So if it's a 50-yard field goal, it's 3 points.
3 and 1.
Yeah. Anything for these defensive players? I've made a lot of money on defensive players' tackles this year, but out of these, I don't mind Zaire Franklin. I'm not looking on either of these guys, though.
Yeah, Zach, I was actually going to ask you, because you've dropped a couple times in our chat throughout the season, this guy's tackle prop's going to hit for sure, yada, yada, whatever. As someone who's maybe a little more novice at this, it feels really tough to predict defensive stats. Is there anything that you look for in this?
Yeah. I've done pretty good with defense, with linebackers especially. You're just sort of predicting game flow. So if we think the Texans are going to be up, we know they're going to give Devin Singletary 20 carries, right? So if they're going to give Devin Singletary 20 carries, then the linebackers are probably going to rack up tackles. And at that point, Zaire Franklin, a lot of these tackles funnel to him.
Yeah.
So I would take the higher on. I'm always going combined tackles. I'm not playing around with solos or assists. So 10 or more tackles. He hit it in back-to-back games here. He's hit it many times this season. He's the NFL leader in tackles. So I actually don't mind that whatsoever. And again, that's from the point of view that I do think the Texans win this game. I do think Devin Singletary gets over 16.5 carries. That's kind of where I'd set that mark right there. And they also throw a lot of stuff underneath too. Like he's going to maybe get a tackle on Schultz. He may get a tackle on whoever's playing the slot for them. So don't mind that whatsoever, actually. But yeah. Eventually, too, I expect Desmond King to get a tackle prop for the Texans, would be my guess. He's been playing slot for the past maybe 4 weeks for the Texans. I picked him up, obviously, in Dynasty because he's been racking up a bunch of tackles. I expect the Colts to throw it out there to Josh Downs a fair amount, and he's been extremely good in the running game as well. So if Jonathan Taylor gets a bunch of carries, I think Desmond King probably finishes with around 10 tackles this week again. So that's a name to watch later in the week. But yeah, Texans offensive line is not great. I don't mind Kwity Paye sacks, but he's been pretty inconsistent as well. Anything else from that game?
Nope.
Okay, as we go through these now, it's going to be a lot of one-sided teams, very few props, I would say. Yeah, so this Buccaneers-Panthers game, we only got 3. We got Baker, 23.5, 231.5 passing yards. Rashad White, 75.5 rushing. Mike Evans, 70.5 receiving. I don't like any of these, to be honest. Trevor, any thoughts?
If I'm picking one, I'm going under on Mike Evans. I'm not going higher on any of them.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. I could see Rashad White going higher, but that's a risky number too.
I feel like if Rashad White goes higher, then Baker goes under, or vice versa.
Probably, yeah. That's probably right. Baker's been racking up passing yards. I think the Buccaneers take the lead and control the game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But again, I don't have a very high confidence level that happens. Last time these teams played, it was a 2 or a 3-point game, and that was in Tampa. This is in Carolina. We've seen the Panthers. I mean, obviously different team, different coaching, different everything, but we've seen them finish seasons strong the past few years now. Could they beat the Buccaneers, knock them out of the playoffs? Certainly possible.
Like, it's probably not a line of thinking, but is there any thinking in this game on Tampa Bay's side where we need this win? Let's just get in and out with nobody injured going into the playoffs.
For sure. But they can't. Hopefully they know they can't just go into the game wanting to escape healthy. Because if they do that, they're going to get got and they're going to lose.
Right.
Like they need to come out aggressive. They need to come out as if it is win or go home. They can still get in with a loss, possibly, if I'm correct. Yeah. Oh, no. I think if they lose, they're out. At least for the division race. In the division race, I think they're out. They could still make it in for the wild card. Because Falcons and Saints play each other.
It says if they win at the Panthers or tie, they're in. Right. Yep. And Saints loss or tie. So, yeah.
Yeah, if they lose, obviously one of the other divisional teams is probably getting a win. The Saints or the Falcons, since they play each other. It changes up the strength of schedule then, and yeah, it gets messy. So I think they need a win here or a tie, but no one wants a tie. Okay, so then this Falcons-Saints game, only 3 props listed right now. Alvin Kamara looks to be very questionable for this game. So I expect there to be a lot of, feet dragging to get some of these other props up. But Bijan Robinson, 67.5 rushing yards. I don't know if anyone could have any confidence in a Bijan Robinson rushing yard prop, but do you guys?
I don't, but I love the over. Like, he's gone over the last 2 games. This is fun. Like, I have had no Bijan Robinson stock in fantasy all year, so I'm not really in the Bijan Robinson as well as I probably should be. But like, he's one of the best players in this offense. This is a must-win game. I hope Arthur Smith is smart enough to know that you give the ball to your best players in the biggest games. So 67.5 feels easy for Bijan Robinson given his last 2 games. So like, if I don't know, I might put a higher on Bijan Robinson and root for it. I think it'd be a fun one to root for. It'd be a very frustrating one, but welcome to sports, man.
That's true. Do you think there's any scenario where the Falcons are chasing points?
I do.
If that's the case, then I'm a little bit nervous.
I don't see it happening. I see it kind of going the same way as it did last game. And for that reason, I'm just spamming Derek Carr over 231.5.
That's fair. That's certainly fair. I like the Falcons defense, but it doesn't take a ton to get over 231. Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr is inconsistent, but sort of is game specific too. If you love the higher on Derek Carr, do you love the higher on Chris Olave or not necessarily?
Not necessarily.
Okay. It's sort of a weird number. I was pretty heavy on his higher last week, and he got fucking 26 yards. So that's probably keeping me away from him more than I probably should this week, but it's going to be really hard for me to take the higher on Olave, and there's almost no shot I take the lower.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. I don't know. Anything else to say about these three?
I don't think so.
For people just tuning in, definitely sign up to Underdog Fantasy using the promo code Flurry. You can get a $100 deposit match, double your deposit, and then we can turn that double deposit into some more money through this stream. If you're just joining, you can rewatch it, get a bunch of good picks. The first few games have a lot more selections to choose from. I have a lot more confidence, I would say, in that Steelers-Ravens game than any of them so far. But yeah, as the week rolls along, we'll have some Underdog Fantasy articles over on Flurry Sports as well. So we'll help you make money this weekend. Promise that. We got 3 Cowboys here in this Cowboys-Washington game.
Before we start, is Dallas playing for anything?
Seed? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they still need a win to get that second seed.
Okay. I guess it's the division self.
And the division.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Right, yeah. So we got Dak at 277. We got Tony Pollard at 60.5 rushing. And then we have CeeDee Lamb at 100.5 receiving. Honestly, I think the one I'm most confident in would be the CeeDee Lamb higher. I think he goes higher than 100.
I agree. Washington's been horrible against the pass this year, right? I also love Dak higher. Like, this is a game where I think Dallas comes in and just stomps the ever-living shit out of Washington, because I don't really think Washington has anything to play for. Rivera's gone at the end of this year anyways. This feels like a 35-3 game for me. So I honestly, I love higher in all three of these.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm big out of all these three on biggest on Pollard. He had 79 the last time they matched up, which is way over. I know he hasn't been great, but like Dallas is going to curb stomp Washington, and they're just going to be running the ball in the second half. I think he can easily break at least one, because really, I mean, you don't need that. You need maybe one busted run for 20 yards for him to easily hit 70, much less 61.
Dallas's offensive line not doing hot. Tyron Smith probably not playing after that foot injury. Tyler Smith, I think, got hurt as well, possibly out for the year. So if you're losing your left side of the offensive line, I don't love that. It's also Dallas outside on the road. I don't love that. So I'm not convinced Dallas stops Washington whatsoever. It also could be writing on the wall one last game. Let's play it hard for Ron Rivera before he's out the door. Who knows? Like, I don't know. I'm not putting anything. I'm not writing anything in stone in a divisional game like this. Could Washington completely roll over and have their vacations already booked? 1,000%. Could Dallas lose this game? 1,000%. It could be a Mike McCarthy special here. I would not put it against them. So, like, truthfully, I think I'm staying away from both of these. And again, CeeDee Lamb, I'm probably confidence level 6 or 7 out of 10. He's been like, I could see a game where Dak passes for 200 yards and CeeDee Lamb is 150. I don't know.
Yeah, and Dallas 8-0 at home, 3-5 away. I mean, make of that what you want.
There's just too much. I need to see Dallas be dominant on the road against a physical team. I need to see it before I can just assume.
I agree.
But should Dallas stomp them and do everything you guys said? Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Washington just that shit of a team.
That's fair. That's fair. They did play hard against San Francisco last week, though, for whatever that's worth.
Okay, yeah.
They did make them look a little afraid prior to the second half. Jumbotron, nothing for Hopkins yet. No Tennessee props up there yet. Tennessee plays who this week? Jacksonville. That makes sense. Don't know what's going on with Tennessee. Don't know what's going on with Jacksonville. So nothing up for that game yet. Chicago Green Bay game we know pretty well. Only 2 props up at the current moment. A lot of question marks with injuries. I'll say right now, Christian Watson is playing.
Yep.
As well as Luke Musgrave should be playing. And then the Bears, I expect all their guys to go. Cole Kmet should go, even though he's not practicing today. I expect DJ Moore to go. Not too worried about injuries in that game, to be completely honest. But as of now, we only got 2, and I'm not trusting either. Jordan Love, 250 passing yards. That's put pretty well, I think. And Aaron Jones has gone over on that rushing yard total in back-to-back games, I do believe. Yeah, over 100 in both of those. He's looked really good. He said he's felt the best he's had all season. I just don't trust the Packers run game. Well, 1, I don't trust the Packers to commit to Aaron Jones. And 2, I don't trust them against a good run defense.
I was going to bring up the Bears are one of the better run defense teams in the league. My only to play devil's advocate on Jordan Love, or I think, his passing yard, where that's at, I think, it's probably right around 250 and a half, right? I think he's got a ton of incentives on his contract here, like top 15 in passing yards. He gets $500,000 or whatever it is like that. He's gone over 250 twice in the last 3 games. If you maybe put a gun in my head, I say he goes over 250 and a half. I think the Packers have to pass to win this game. And I think the Bears are going to be after Love. A lot of pressure coming his way. So I don't know if that means one-on-one coverage with guys all over the place. Someone grabs a pass and runs. So put a gun in my head. I'll take over Jordan Love 250 and a half.
I mean, how many times does LaFleur have to say we got away from the run, and does he panic on offense for us to, stop betting on Aaron Jones overs for rushing yards? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with all of it. Jordan Love should hit the over on that. But again, it's one of those things. It's just sort of me measuring the risk I want. I think which side do I think he lands on? I think it's the higher. How many passing yards do I think he gets? Probably like 260.
Yeah, 260, 275 at the most.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go out there and have a huge game. So I'm just not going to, side with the very narrow side.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. That's probably the smarter side, right? Either the Packers have to pass to win, or they have to pass to stay in the game. So
either way, Green Bay's passing the ball.
Yeah, I agree. Jumbotron, who wins, Buffalo or Miami? I think Buffalo.
I think Miami.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to take Buffalo now. Tyreek Hill's got his house on fire. That figures into my division here.
So symbolic.
Yeah,
I love it. Jordan Love getting 237. Book it. Take the under. That's fair too. I think the Bears. I mean, we'll talk about it in Lombardi Sweep next. I'm picking the Bears, but for whatever that's worth, Bears are at worst. I think they're the second best team in the division. At best, I don't think they're that much worse than the Lions, to be completely honest. But yeah, nothing else to say about these 2 Green Bay guys, I'm guessing.
I don't think so. I wish I had Bear props up on here, because I would definitely take Justin Fields over rushing yards in this game.
For sure. Cole Kmet probably has a pretty good game as well. 3 Seahawks here. They play Arizona. I mean, they looked like they were going to get ran out of town last week, and they came back and actually won it. So they're still playing hard for whatever that's worth. Seahawks obviously have to win and get a little bit of extra help in terms to make the playoffs. Geno, 245 and a half passing yards. We got Kenneth Walker, 62 and a half rushing yards. We got DK Metcalf, 68 and a half receiving yards. I actually looked back because the first one that popped out to me was I think DK Metcalf's going to smoke this. However, he's had his high against Arizona for his career, I believe, is 58 yards, and that's the only time he's gone over 50 receiving yards against the Cardinals.
Wow.
That feels weird.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't necessarily deter me this week, but that's weird. Like, I was surprised that he has done absolutely nothing against them ever.
Yeah, it feels like DK Metcalf's the kind of guy who's going to come into every division game like, fuck you, give me the ball, I'm going to go for 200 yards. And so to hear that, that's crazy. I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm. That being said, I think I like the higher on all three of these.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, Seattle has to win this game. It's a very winnable game for Seattle, and I think, I don't think their defense wins the game for them at all. So I think the offense alone.
Correct. I agree with Jumbotron, by the way. Hawks going to blow the Cards out. Like, this is a sneaky shootout game. I think regardless, Seahawks put up points, though.
Yeah. Yep.
It's either the defense shows up or they don't. I don't know, Trevor, any thoughts?
Go ahead, Trevor.
Not really. But Kenneth Walker will get over 62.5 for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm most confident in.
Shout out Jonathan Gannon, too. If you had told me that he would beat the Eagles at the start of the year, I would have said, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah, and by the way, I give him no credit.
No,
I like, the Eagles lost the game. I give nobody on that Cardinals team credit. I don't want to hear anyone talk about Kyler Murray leading the team back, because holy shit, that was the worst pick six I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a bad game. The only person I'll give credit is James Conner, who balled out. He played very well. Way better than I thought he would. And their offensive line, I guess. But yeah. McAdoo wants to know why you're wearing sunglasses indoors. Do you want to school him on fashion, Luke? Or
yeah,
no?
Blocking out the haters like you, McAdoo.
Boom. Walker was sick last week. I feel like Walker's been sick or injured every week. So I'd be more alarmed if he was healthy. So if he comes into this game with no injury tag or anything, maybe think about the lower.
Yeah, I'd be concerned.
Yeah. Otherwise, he plays with a chip on his shoulder, Last game here, we got a lot of props. That's good. So we got Buffalo, Miami. Like I said earlier, I'm siding with Buffalo. I think they're sort of the team NFL really wants to push. It seemed pretty obvious they're going to make the playoffs. They kind of need to win, I think, to make the playoffs technically. I think they're probably in either way, but yeah, I don't know. But let's start with Josh Allen. We got a bunch of props here. 1.5 passing touchdowns, over a half rushing or receiving, 245.5 passing, 35.5 rushing, half interception, half fumble lost, and then 285.5 passing and rushing combined. The two that kind of speak to me most are probably rushing touchdown and interception.
Exactly what I was going to say.
I think I like the higher on both.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game where Josh Allen is just going to take the ball in his hands, and like this is a game. This is exactly what we're talking about. You give the ball to your best player and let them do whatever you want. That's what Josh Allen does come playoff time. He runs and he throws. This is the antithesis of Josh Allen in this game. It's gonna be a great rushing touchdown. It's gonna be a horrible interception.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, I saw somewhere that Josh Allen is like one touchdown short of tying or breaking the Buffalo Bills rushing touchdown record in a season. Wow. In my opinion, he absolutely knows that's a thing and wants to break it 100%. So he's going to be forcing that on the ground. So I think he gets a touchdown easily as well.
I mean, it's also, we've said it for years, but these past few weeks, especially, it's more obvious than ever that he's the goal line back. Yep. Like, if they get close at all within the 5, he's taking it.
Yep.
And even if it's not in the 5, like, he's going to scramble a little bit. So yeah, I feel like that's relatively safe. How many weeks in a row has it been? At least 3 weeks in a row. He's gotten 2 the past 2 weeks. So yeah, I like that.
Does Josh Allen take overtime?
Interceptions back-to-back weeks. It's a big game, so we kind of have to assume he's going to throw one.
Yep. Yeah, you just got the ball too much. He's going to be doing too much with it.
Yeah, like I could see big lead for Buffalo. Andy throws a pick then, and then Miami makes it a game.
Yep.
James Cook, I like the higher on this rushing. 63.5. He's been getting pretty heavy carries, 16, 20, 25. If he gets at least 16 carries, I think he gets over 64 rushing yards.
Yep.
So that's where I'm siding with him. Any thoughts, Trevor, Luke?
No, like I agree. We saw what James Cook did against Dallas, and I know whatever this is Miami, it's a new game. Like he's part of this offense. The Bill, it's obvious that the Bills been trying to get him going all year. They finally got him going against Dallas. Give him a little bit more run before the play. Like I love it. I love the over 63.5.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna hit it. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Fair enough. Next guy, very polarizing, very, very inconsistent for fantasy, Stephon Diggs. I mean, we've said it for multiple weeks, probably, or at least we've all thought it for multiple weeks at this point that he's due for like a big game. I'm not touching him. If I have to pick a side, I'm going higher than 16.5 receiving yards. But
yeah, I think he scored a touchdown in this game too.
Yeah, he's due. I just can't do it. Can't do it at all.
Yeah, I get
Trevor, any confidence at all?
In Stephon Diggs, no. Not at all. I think he throws a tantrum too.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Over 1.5 tantrums.
Yeah, I wish that was one. Gabe Davis, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir. Do we think any of them score a touchdown or at least have enough confidence to pick it?
No confidence all to pick it, but I think one of them scores. I don't know who, but I think someone else than Stephon Diggs or James Cook scores in this game.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'm probably going Kincaid, but I don't know.
I'm going Shakir. It feels like a Khalil Shakir weird 30-yard touchdown game right now.
Like,
could be.
To exasperate your point a little bit more, I don't know if that was the right word used there, but for Mo Alley Cox, like he's either used or not, it's the same thing with Gabe Davis.
Yeah, for sure. And Jumbo, they'll have Gabe's yards and receptions on there later in the week, probably some targets as well. Again, though, I mean, you could put any yardage down for Gabe Davis, and I would feel the exact same.
Yep.
It could be 5 yards, it could be 20 yards, it could be 80 yards. Mm-hmm. And either he's going to blow up or he's not.
Yep.
So, like, no matter what yardage they're putting there, if I'm picking a higher on Gabe, I'm taking the touchdown because it's got the multiplier with it.
Yep.
Don't mind Tyler Bass's field goals. Again, divisional game. I like it.
Yeah, I think you can make some money just doing a kicker parlay here.
For sure. Depending on the weather, we need to see what's going on the East Coast, and this is in Miami, so it should be easy. But with those other games, we gotta check it out, see if there's any crazy wind or something. Tua, we can do Tua interception or fumble lost.
I like
both of those.
Love fumble loss this week.
Got a multiplier too. Otherwise, I don't know. Do we feel any certain way about any of these two props?
I mean, like 1.5 passing touchdowns probably should hit. I hate the rushing yards. Like it's another one. Like some of them should hit, but it's a lot of risk. It feels like, right? Like 264, it feels like Tyreek Hill can go for 264 by himself. That obviously that's not going to happen. But it's another one where it's like it's Miami and Tua. What have you ever seen out of Miami and Tua that Tua has had to go out there and make plays without anyone else making plays for him?
Yeah. Trevor, any thoughts on Tua?
I mean, the only thing I'd go higher on is interceptions here. At least that I feel most confident I should say. I think he gets over 1.5 passing touchdowns too, but I'm definitely I'm picking a Tua turnover for sure.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be a game where both of these teams make mistakes, like they don't want to win the game, but somebody has to win it.
Yeah, like the Dolphins' offense has looked, just as a whole, has looked awesome this year, right? I think the way to beat Tua, right, is you make him uncomfortable. I guess you could say the same about every quarterback, but honestly, Tua, like he doesn't move very well. Which, if you're going to do that, you can go man coverage on Tyreek Hill. I get that, but if you can get any sort of pressure on Tua, he is going to fumble that football.
Yeah, I mean Ravens rattled him, and we saw what happened. So Buffalo, I would assume, unleash Von Miller, unleash, the people like that. Gregory. So. Yeah, they're going to bring pressure. If it gets there, it gets there. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's kind of what they're going to do, I would assume. Tyreek Hill, I mean, he should get 100 receiving yards, right?
Yeah. I like the touchdown here, too. It's been a long time since Tyreek Hill scored a touchdown. He dropped that one last week, too, which I'm sure he's still pissed about.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's more pissed about his house right now.
Fair.
Maybe the touchdown, too.
Fair.
Either way, though, I mean, could be a big. I mean, how many? He has to have a huge game so someone can talk about he's on fire, right? Like it has.
Yeah.
Chris Collinsworth is going to make that joke as soon as he catches the first ball.
For sure. Like, the NFL's got to give the internet some stuff, so that feels like an obvious one. I don't think we're assuming a Smythe touchdown. If there's a reception or yardage one later in the week, I think he does get 3-4 catches. But
hats off to anyone that's betting over Durham Smythe half a touchdown.
Yeah. Good luck, maybe. And then Sanders has been on fire.
Awesome.
So I don't mind over 6.5 kicking points.
Love it.
Fuck you, Jason Sanders. Fuck you.
This
22 points in my championship game. Fuck you.
Jason Myers over 6.5 kicking points is right next to Josh Allen over half a rushing touchdown for my favorite bets in this game.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. And then we got some Miami pass rushers. Obviously, Bradley Chubb out. So now Andrew Van Ginkel may be the... I don't think he's the most trustworthy. Sealer's done pretty well lately. Obviously, 3 straight games. Christian Smith's going to be rushing on the interior. Van Ginkel's kind of everywhere. If I had to pick one, I'm picking Van Ginkel. But, I mean, we know Josh Allen's hard to bring down. I don't know if I'm necessarily taking any of these 3 guys.
No, I agree with you. Like, I think if you had to tell me to pick one, I think I'm picking Seiler just from what we've seen the last couple of weeks, right? But rooting for Andrew Van Ginkel sack is going to be very fun in this game.
For sure. I always root for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is all that's available at the current moment. If you wanted to do college football national championship, there's various props here already. We talked about it a little bit pre-show, but I don't mind in a Dunze over 90 receiving yards, maybe a touchdown. Don't mind that at all. Penix is they don't have passing touchdowns, but if you think he goes for over 300 passing yards again, certainly possible. Michigan, I don't know if I trust McCarthy to run that way again, but they do have that. 7 rushing attempts might be a little bit safer. We got 105 rushing yards for Corum. I think the 6.5 receiving is not terrible either. He's done decent lately. But yeah, I don't know. Any specific loves?
I kind of liked over 48.5 for Roman Wilson there.
Yeah. I don't mind that at all either, actually. That's not bad. I don't hate... I almost would rather side with the extra points over kicking points.
Yeah. I mean, James Turner's been good kicker this year. How can anyone ever trust a college kicker to make a field goal that's not an extra point, though?
Yeah, that's very fair. He's good, but yeah, it's definitely not automatic from anywhere. But yeah, that's all I got. You can see all these props here. They don't have basketball up right now, but they have like international basketball. They got golf. They got women's college basketball taken down for tonight now. But regular college basketball. I played some hockey earlier. Let's see how those are doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but Marner's just starting. Jack Hughes has a shot. We're doing good. We're on track.
One of them hit.
No, that's for NBA. That was Duarte.
Shout out Chris Duarte, Oregon's finest.
Yeah, I put in like
Jordan Poole to share the basketball. That's a bold strategy.
I was like panicking because I needed to put in as many Duarte rebound selections in last night as possible, and all of the in-game ones were going away. So I just started clicking random ones for today's games.
Dude.
So I won a shit ton out of Duarte. Like it was automatic. I just kept clicking rebounds for the entire game.
Dude, when you're doing like I did a couple of them this year, the NBA like live, and those go away quick, and it's quite a rush to find what picks you want.
Yeah. So that's the product of pool in this fucking blowout. So there's no shot that it is. But yeah, interesting. I did a hockey draft today too.
Ooh.
I thought.
Best ball.
Where is it? No, I definitely did a draft. Was it canceled?
Drafts?
Yeah, I'm in drafts right now.
I thought you were in live.
No, you're in pick'em.
No, live daily drafts. Boop. Oh, easy. See, that's how easy it is. I knew Nico Herscher was gonna do that. So pretty easy stuff, guys.
2 goals this damn.
Yeah, obviously. Then I think it's all backup goalies today too. So that took my hockey knowledge down from nothing to worse, which made it. I mean, it was a disaster.
Fuck that.
I do too. I don't know what's happening half the time I'm watching it, but it's fun sport. But yeah, that was Underdog Fantasy Picks for NFL Week 18. Again, watch out on flurrysports.org. There will be articles up there for Underdog Picks later in the week as more projections come out, but also just going into more depth on some of the ones we talked about here. But sign up for Underdog Fantasy using promo code Flurry. Get a $100 deposit match. If you are looking to enter some drafts, some live drafts with people, and you don't have enough to fill it, definitely drop the links under this video on YouTube, and I'll join it. As you saw from that hockey draft I did, I'll do any sport. I will do whatever need be. I'll win it. I'm going to win, just so you know. I'm going to at least cash. It doesn't matter. But that is what we will do. I'm sure others here will do it as well. Or even better, if you want to really fill those drafts up, go over to Fantasy Football by Committee on Facebook, our Facebook group, and you can share your draft links there as well. Invites, and we'll hop in there, I am sure. But yeah, we will be back in a little bit with Lombardi sweep, talking about the Green Bay Packers and the game with the Bears this week. Jumbo, last thing, Mahomes lower 1 interceptions, Tyrod over 25.5 rushing. Don't think Mahomes is going to play.
No.
So he will go lower, but it won't count. And then Tyrod over 25.5 rushing. Oh, maybe the other day he's saying. Yeah. That's good. Attaboy.
Nice. I do
Yeah,
have a,
nice
I know we're running a little bit long here, but I do have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
As kind of the dynasty season is over, this is my first year as a commissioner of one of the dynasty leagues. We just reactivated our league for next year. I know it's going quick already, but love getting started right away. Do you guys have any like fun features that you include in dynasty leagues if you're a commissioner of anything? Like I saw online for like a week 18. You take like where you finish, all the even teams and all the odd teams. They designate one player and you kind of do a Pro Bowl, and the winner of it gets like extra fab for the end of the season, for the next season. Do you guys have any fun features like that, or anyone in the chat have any fun features to include in a dynasty league?
Yeah, definitely let us know. But that'd be a fun one to do, actually.
Mm-hmm. That way people watch week 18 where it's something to root for fantasy,
We also need to figure out in the ones we're in, we need to figure out stakes for the consolation bracket. I think like winning the consolation bracket should get you something.
Yeah, I think we should do it now, where the one that I tanked in, the winner of the consolation should get the first pick, because my team was dog shit all year and then somehow ran the table by the grace of Joe Flacco, and really? I want something for it.
Okay, that's nice.
I can't lose the number one pick to a team that didn't exist. That's how I look at it.
That is fair. We're going to have to do something different with the expansion this time, I think, as well. We'll see.
Thank God Espinosa lost. No offense, Espinosa, but you drafted like shit. You did not deserve that.
Yeah. It was something. He was certainly set up to win. I'll say that, with the system in place. Against all odds, he came in second. But yeah, we'll figure it out. I think there's so many things you could do with Dynasty.
Yeah,
a lot of things you could do. I like that Pro Bowl idea, though. The only issue with that specific is, at least for our Dynasty leagues, I feel like Fab wouldn't be enough. You know what I mean?
Just some kind of reward. What an extra real money or something. Everyone puts in $5, another extra $5 at the beginning of the year or something like that.
Yeah, that could be fun. There should be something. If there was a way to do it with like draft picks, I don't necessarily want to give away the first overall pick, but
Right. Maybe you get an
I
extra
don't
third
know.
round pick or something. I don't know. But also
Maybe.
that way someone kind of has to hand score it too.
Right.
It's easy, but whatever. It's a little extra work.
Yeah. Worth it. But we will be back in a little bit again with Lombardi Sweep. If you're watching this for the first time, definitely subscribe or follow wherever you are at. We do streams every single week, every single Wednesday night. We're on here. Let us know the kind of content you want to see following football season here. We've done fantasy football all season long. We have an idea for a ranking show, ranking everything. But if you have any other ideas or content you would like to see, please let us know, and we'll probably at least attempt it. So whatever you want to see, we'll do. That includes an OnlyFans. We have already had that suggestion, but we haven't had a suggestion of what to do on OnlyFans. So get creative. Let us know in the comments. See ya.